Key indices at day's low as the fall intensifies. Losers far outnumber the gainers after the earnings season fails to provide any fresh cues for broad optimism on growth. All sectors come under pressure, with FMCG being the big outlier.
And positive commentary from Godrej Consumer and Marico add to the improved outlook shared by peers like HUL, Britannia and Dabur on rural demand, easing of cost pressures and volume growth. The growing optimism boosts FMCG stocks.
Hindalco's overseas arm Novelis puts up a good show on volumes and profitability as cost pressures ease and pricing improves. Lower debt and improved cash flows also add to the mix, but the stock slips following the recent run-up.
The National Stock Exchange's proposal to extend trading time has been nixed by SEBI following feedback from brokers. Given this, NSE has decided to shelve the proposal.
Hello and welcome. You've tuned into Business Lunch. I'm Nisha Podar. With me, as always, Sonia Shenoy. So, Sonia, earnings as well as the big event of the elections, both put together, has been putting pressure on the market, and both are very big events and very big cues that the market has taken cognizance of. So at lunch, are completely out of steam. Nifty 50 at the low point of the trading session, trading around 22,255 points, which, remember, from the high point of the day is about 250 points down. Let's take stock of the rest of the market at this point, and Sensex has lost 540 points at the moment. Bank Nifty is taking a deeper cut. Remember, it's the financials who get jittery first ahead of big events and big nervousness that is really ailing the market at this point. So 1.23% down on Bank Nifty. And when we talk about mid caps, that universe is seeing a huge amount of selling pressure, 2.5% down on the mid cap universe. So it's clearly weakness in the market and aided by two important factors. Election numbers also cannot be ruled out, and the expectation from the outcome as well. Advanced decline ratio heavily in favor of the declining stocks. But what's clearly an outlier in today's trade is some of the FMCG counters, especially because of the management commentary on rural demand coming in from most of the big boys. So Hindustan Unilever, Britannia, Nestle, ITC, all heavy gainers, while on the flip side, it's some of the high beta stocks from the metal space which are losing the most, Sonia.
Oh, absolutely. And I think the main reason, right, for the sell-off that we're seeing in the market today is the kind of FII selling in the last couple of days. So 2 days of big FII selling. And in the month of May alone, so far, we have seen almost 5,000 crores of FII selling. So, there's definitely some pressure on the market. I think as we head into the final counting date, which is the 4th of June, there will definitely be some volatility depending on which way things swing, which way the wind is blowing. So the market might get a little bit of trepidation as we are seeing today. But the bigger worry really is the broader market sell-off. But let's begin Business Lunch by focusing on the elections. The third phase of the Lok Sabha elections is now underway. Polling taking place across 93 constituencies in 10 states and 2 union territories. Parikshit is here to give us the key details and the contests in this phase of polling. Parikshit.
Well, yes, the BJP had won 75 seats in this phase last time around. The biggest gains coming from Maharashtra, from Karnataka, from Gujarat, Madhya Pradesh, UP and also Assam. Let me just tell you about Assam right now. Now, this is the election taking place after the delimitation exercise. So, the contours of several constituencies have changed. The NDA alliance had won 9 seats in the last election, and this time, the Chief Minister, Himanta Biswa Sarma, is confident that they will win 13 seats in Assam. It's important for the BJP to continue doing well here if they want that big tally of 400 plus. Now, barring Dhubri, Himanta Biswa says they will win 13 seats. Dhubri, according to the state chief minister, the BJP may not win because of the 85% Muslim population in the state. So you've got the remaining 4 seats in Assam going to polls this time around. Now let's look at a larger national picture at this stage. Yes, the BJP had won all seats in Karnataka last time around. There are 14 seats going to polls in this phase. These are seats in northern Karnataka which are going to polls. This is the Lingayat-dominated area in Karnataka, and you've got the two former chief ministers, sons and daughters of former chief ministers. One union minister, Prahlad Joshi, who is fighting from Dharwad over here. It's going to be an important battle also for the Congress party. You've got DK Shivakumar, who wants to become the chief minister midway. So we have to see how he performs as well. Now, if we go a little micro as far as Karnataka goes and bring up our magic wall filters, let's look at the areas where the BJP had done well last time around. They had won all the seats. But if you look at the Congress guarantee impact, there are at least 6 seats where the Congress has been able to make some impact, some headway in the voters' mind with the 5 guarantees they are offering. Let's see how things change. But these are the areas where the 5 guarantees of the Congress party are being spoken about. Now, let's go to a pan-India picture to speak about states like Madhya Pradesh. Now, Madhya Pradesh, I'm tracking 3 battles very closely. One is Guna. Guna, why? Because you've got Jyotiraditya Scindia fighting from here. He had lost on a Congress ticket last time around. This time, he's fighting on a BJP ticket, hoping to retain his home ground of Guna. Then you have the Vidisha constituency, which has been with the BJP for the last 35 years. Very important to watch out as well. Shivraj Singh Chauhan is fighting from there. And then you have Rajgarh. Rajgarh, why is it important? Digvijay Singh is fighting from here. He is returning to Rajgarh after 30 years, and he's up against Ramdal Singh of the Congress party, and it's going to be a difficult battle for Digvijay Singh. Moving on to Uttar Pradesh, you've got seats like Mainpuri going to polls. This 21 constituency is Mainpuri, and Mainpuri is the bastion of Mulayam Singh Yadav. Dimple Yadav is contesting from here. She is Mulayam Singh Yadav's daughter-in-law. So let's see how the BJP and the Samajwadi perform here. But the BJP will have to continue making big gains here. Gujarat was a clean sweep in 2014 and 2019, and the BJP is hoping for a hat-trick this time around.
All right. Thanks so much, Parikshit, for giving us the full synopsis of phase 3 of the union elections. And while polling is underway across the country in those constituencies, we have our team joining us with the on-ground coverage and the developments there. So let's focus on Karnataka. 14 seats in Karnataka, all of which were, remember, won by BJP in the year 2019 elections. And our colleague Ritu Singh is outside the BJP headquarters in Bengaluru to bring us up to speed with the developments on ground there. Tell us, Ritu.
The second and the final phase of voting underway here in the state of Karnataka for 14 Lok Sabha seats. There are 227 candidates that are in the fray and about 2.6 crore registered voters that are going to decide their fate. Remember, in the 2019 general elections, the BJP had swept all 14 of these seats, Congress not winning a single one. This time around, the JDS is not even fielding any candidate from any of these 14 seats, and so it's going to be a straight fight between the BJP and the Congress. Now remember, this is a Lingayat-dominated region, and so that is going to be a crucial factor. Typically, the Lingayat voter base is seen as BJP's core voter base, but that's somewhat shifted in the 2023 assembly elections. We'll have to see how that plays out. In terms of other key issues, while the BJP is fighting on national issues and hoping for the Modi factor to work in its favor in the state, for Congress, it is the guarantees announced by the state that it is banking on, specially targeting the female voter base. Whether larger issues like Prajwal Revanna's sexual assault case will play on the BJP voters' mind, we'll have to see. Then there are specific issues to specific constituencies as well. In terms of key candidates, there are 3 BJP top guns, former chief ministers as well, that are taking on relatively younger Congress rivals. Former Chief Minister Jagdish Shettar from Belgavi, former Chief Minister Basavaraj Bombay from Haveri, and Union Parliamentary Affairs Minister Prahlad Joshi from Hubbali. I'd like to draw your attention also to a very interesting fight, a 3-way fight in Shivmoga between BJP leader B.S. Yediyurappa's son B.Y. Raghavendra, who had won this seat the last time around, Congress's Geeta Shiv Rajkumar, who is the daughter of former Chief Minister S. Bangarappa and wife of actor Shiv Rajkumar, and BJP rebel leader, that is K.S. Ishwarappa, contesting as an independent candidate, splitting the Congress and BJP votes. So these are some of the key issues we're going to watch out for. Karnataka, a very important state for BJP as well, seen as the gateway to southern India.
Okay, thanks a lot, Ritu, for that. Well, Shivani joins us from Uttar Pradesh's Sci-Fi to give us a sense of what is happening on ground there. Shivani, over to you.
Well, voting is going on in the third phase of the Lok Sabha election in Uttar Pradesh. 10 seats going for polls: Sambhal, Hathras, Agra, Fatehpur Sikri, Firozabad, and also the high-profile seat of Mainpuri. It is an important phase for Samajwadi Party, where Dimple Yadav is aiming to retain the Mainpuri Lok Sabha seat, which she won in the by-polls of 2022 following the death of her father-in-law Mulayam Singh Yadav. Now, apart from Dimple Yadav, Akshay Yadav, the son of SP National Principal General Secretary Ram Gopal Yadav, is contesting from the Firozabad seat. Aditya Yadav, the son of SP National General Secretary Shivpal Yadav, is making his electoral debut from Badaयूं constituency. This time, BJP has fielded Thakur Jaiveer Singh, who is the Minister for Tourism in the Yogi government, from the Mainpuri constituency. Remember, back in 2019, BJP had won 8 of these 10 seats and Samajwadi Party won 2, which is Mainpuri and Sambhal. Talking about the voter turnout, by 9 a.m. the voter turnout stood at 11%, and by 11 a.m. The voter turnout reached around 25%. It's a hot summer day, and the voter turnout is expected to pick up by evening today.
All right, thanks Shivani for that. And let's finally move across to our colleague Santya, joining us from Baramati in the state of Maharashtra to tell us what the election mood is like. Tell us, Santya.
So Nisha, Baramati is not only this phase's most important, most interesting seat, but it is also this election season's most interesting and dramatic seat. And why so? Because for the first time, Pawar family, there are 2 members of Pawar families who are pitted against each other. Before this, it was in 1960s that Sharad Pawar and his brother were in 2 different camps. But this time, Sharad Pawar's daughter Supriya Sule and Ajit Pawar's wife Sunitra Pawar are the contenders. They are taking upon each other. Now, talking about the rest of the seats for this particular phase, there are 11 seats of Maharashtra where polling is underway. Apart from Baramati, it's Hatkangale, Sangli, Satara, Kolhapur, Solapur, Madha, Ratnagiri, Sindhudurg, Raigad, Osmanabad, Latur. These are some of the seats. Talking about Western Maharashtra. So if we, besides this Baramati town periphery, if we talk about the remaining part of the constituency, water crisis is a key election issue. Demands of sugarcane farmers, they're demanding an MSP for sugarcane. That is another election issue. Other than that, for the rest of the Western Maharashtra, Maratha reservation is an important election issue. Farmer distress, another one, and water crisis is also a key election issue. Talking about the Konkan seats, the southern coastal belt of Maharashtra, Raigad and Ratnagiri, Sindhudurg, unemployment, lack of industrialization, and farmer distress are important election issues for them. Talking about seats of Marathwada, Latur, Osmanabad, that region, there water crisis and farmer distress are the most important issues. Latur has faced multiple droughts, consecutive years for a very long time. So water crisis still remains a key election issue there. Other than that, Marathwada region also houses OBC vote bank. So Maratha reservation and Maratha OBC fight over reservation will also be a factor, Nisha.
Absolutely. And first time 2 women are fighting against each other in Baramati as well. So a lot of firsts, right, this time around. And in the family, in the same family, yeah.
Yeah, and it will be a big fight also because Maharashtra has been most exciting in terms of Game of Thrones in the state elections.
Yeah.
So it's a fight for prestige. So Maharashtra is one of the key, states where a lot of political excitement is taking place.
A lot of excitement, as you're saying, right? Pawar versus Pawar in Baramati at the moment. So, okay, lots happening on the election front. Take a short break. When we return, we'll put the spotlight on FMCG companies that are buzzing on the back of their earnings. Stay tuned. Welcome back. You're watching Business Lunch on CNBC-TV18. Well, the National Stock Exchange has shelved plans to extend trading timings after stockbrokers seem to have not given the market regulator the response it wanted. Let's in fact hear out what Ashish Chauhan, the CEO of NSE, had to say on the conference call yesterday.
Currently, there is no plan to increase the timings as SEBI has returned back the application which we had provided because the stockbrokers seem to have not given the feedback that SEBI wanted. So as of now, the extended time frame is held.
All right, let's focus on the FMCG stocks. They are buzzing in trade on the back of their Q4 earnings today. And Godrej Consumer reported a decent quarterly performance. Earlier, we spoke to the management, Asif Malbari, who's the CFO of the company, and he says that rural demand is picking up. He also expects the volume growth to sustain in high single digits and adds that the company has scope to improve the international business margins. Listen in.
As a company, we have said our aspiration is to stay in terms of high single-digit volume growth. So we should be able to sustain that kind of performance going forward next year also. We do see an opportunity to kind of step up growth in household insecticides. This year also has been very erratic in terms of weather. And as things normalize in terms of weather, that also is an opportunity for growth to kind of step up.
Okay, in fact, Marico too reported a good set of numbers. We spoke to Saugata Gupta, who's the MD and CEO of Marico, to discuss the signs of the demand improvement on ground and the growth outlook for the next few quarters. Listen in.
I think we had a lot of stress on rural. Having said that, I think as we completed Q4, towards the end of Q4, we saw some green shoots and some uptick in rural consumption. Overall, if I believe that, I think we are much better placed to deliver double-digit revenue growth next year. So now we are well positioned in terms of growing food at a margin which is acceptable to us. I think the A&P spends at the current level should be okay for us. Already, I think one of the brands is broken even, I think Beardo. And we believe that the digital business should be in a position to break even.
All right, so the FMCG stocks are outliers because of the positive commentary and good performance by the companies today. Now let's slip into a short breather on Business Lunch. But up next is some important global development. Hamas says that it accepts a ceasefire, but Israel moves on with the strike on Gaza. More on that story after a very short break. Stay tuned. Welcome back. You're watching Business Lunch, and straight to the global developments of importance, getting you the latest coming in from West Asia conflict today. There is no ordeal yet for a ceasefire in Gaza, but talks will continue today in Cairo, Egypt. And Hamas says that it has accepted a proposal brokered by Egypt and Qatar. But Israel has rejected it and has pushed ahead with a fresh round of strikes in Rafah. In fact, NBC's Richard reports on the developments.
In Gaza, they're celebrating their salvation after Hamas announced it had accepted a sweeping ceasefire. But it seems they're celebrating too soon. Israel says there is no deal yet, that the terms Hamas accepted are far from Israel's necessary requirements and are not the original offer Israel had on the table. But Israel is dispatching a delegation to negotiate, while its war cabinet has also unanimously approved a targeted operation against Hamas in the southern city of Rafah. Our crew capturing it starting.
There has been a response from Hamas to the hostage deal. We're currently reviewing that response.
While the details remain unclear, a senior Arab negotiator directly involved in the talks tells NBC News Hamas's position has shifted greatly over the past 48 hours, and that the deal Hamas says it accepts would see it free 33 hostages in exchange for a roughly 40-day ceasefire, followed by further hostage releases and the freeing of more than 1,000 Palestinian prisoners held in Israeli jails. But the source notes, with Israel not at the most recent negotiations, Hamas agreed to its own terms, using its own interpretation of the offer. Israel believes 93 hostages captured on October 7th are still alive in Gaza, and that many of them are being held in Rafah, the only remaining city in Gaza where Israel has not yet conducted major ground operations. Israel ordered roughly 100,000 Palestinians to evacuate from part of Rafah, using leaflets to announce that intense counter-terrorism operations were about to begin. President Biden opposes a full-scale assault on Rafah because it is packed with more than 1 million civilians who fled there for their safety.
Okay, that's the latest in terms of the Israel-Gaza situation. But moving on, in the market, it's not looking good at all. The Nifty is now down almost 200 points. The Sensex has scaled back 500 points. In fact, you know, it is a pretty gruesome situation if you look at what's happening in the broader markets. It's not just a routine correction today. The correction has extended to an 1,100-point cut on the mid-cap index. Now, if you'd want to call it, volatility ahead of the election counting day, if you want to call it large FI selling, be that as it may, it is a market that is not looking good at the moment. So let's do one thing. Let's move on to talk about some other news flow. The Supreme Court heard arguments on granting interim bail to Arvind Kejriwal in the Delhi liquor policy case. Ashmit Kumar is joining in with the latest on that. Ashmit, over to you.
Well, just for context, the Supreme Court is hearing the application by Delhi CM Kejriwal, challenging the ED arrest in the first place. But in the interim, given as how the elections in Delhi and Punjab are around the corner, Delhi is expected to vote on May 25th. June 1st is when Punjab is likely to vote. On that particular question, the Apex Court then decided to raise the question of whether or not Arvind Kejriwal should be granted interim bail. Now, what's important is that the Supreme Court made some critical observations. Number one, the Supreme Court observed that the national elections come only once in 5 years. Further, the Apex Court went on to note that the fact that he's likely to campaign in both the Delhi and Punjab elections is something that is weighing on the minds of the Apex Court. The Supreme Court, in fact, further even said that had it not been for the elections, this question would not have arose. But there are unique circumstances in light of these elections which are currently underway. This was something that was even supported by Arvind Kejriwal. He went on to argue that if Arvind Kejriwal was a history cheater or a terrorist, the question of interim bail may not have been considered. But this is a unique situation. However, the Enforcement Directorate is fiercely opposing this stance by the Apex Court. The Supreme Court is saying that no person can be granted a special consideration, much less a chief minister, a politician who's in fact facing very severe allegations under the PMLA. Further, the ED went on to argue that this will set a wrong precedent, that to allow for bail in such interim conditions, in such circumstances, will send a wrong message that some persons, on account of the chair that they occupy, are more equal than the others. Now, what's important is that at least on this limited question of interim bail, the Apex Court has concluded arguments and has said that it will pass necessary orders.
Yes. Thanks so much, Ashmit, for getting us all the important details coming in from the courtroom today. With that, it's a wrap on Business Lunch. Thanks so much for tuning in.